Welcome to Business Prowess with Rafael and Dr. Andrea. Our show will bring you the best insights, ideas, and inspiration from successful entrepreneurs and CEOs in the business world. Don't miss out on the opportunity to learn from the best and stay ahead of the game. Sifu Rafael is the founder of 5 unique shows. He's a fitness professional, solutions expert, executive coach, and head instructor at Max Martial Arts and Fitness in New York. Dr. Andrea Adams-Miller is an award-winning international keynote speaker, best-selling author, and CEO of the Red Carpet Connection Publicity, Publishing, and Talent Agency, and CEO of IgniteYourRelationship.com. Known as the Dream Maker, she makes visionaries' dreams come true, bigger than they ever dare to desire.
Good morning, Dr. Andrea. How are you doing?
Well, absolutely hunky-dory. Things are amazing here.
Love it,
We have
love
a
it,
really
love
fun show. I am already excited about what Tommy was alluding to when we were talking before break. And then congratulations to you. You've had some successful events in New York City and another one scheduled in December. So how fun is that?
Oh my gosh. I got to tell you, when we get into a room with a bunch of entrepreneurs, people who are movers and shakers, oof, it is fire for sure.
Always is. I love it. Networking is like the best thing that just lights people up and helps them to know they have support. They're being with people like them, because when you're an entrepreneur, unless you're married to an entrepreneur like you, that is a world that's totally different.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Dr. Andrea, we have 2 exceptional people joining us on the panel. We have Tommy and we have Dr. Cynthia. Good morning to both of you. How are you?
Good morning. It's so good to be with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Super exciting.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of start it off here. You know, when we're talking about talent, potential, and the hidden costs of debt, I mean, that just brings a whole gamut of fun topics to bring together and to be able to show how all of those things overlap and can either lead to or can prevent, depending on which direction you go with how you utilize your talent and your potential, and what debt really means. Because sometimes debt think that's just like, a loan or like money on your credit card, but debt can have a much bigger meaning than that. So Tommy, why don't you start, since you jumped on here with us today? Which of these topics is most passionate to you, and tell us about that.
Well, my most passionate effort is I'm a whistleblower. I'm a victims' rights advocate. I have discovered that the banks worldwide are committing a fraud on all of us on the bank-issued alleged credit card. So it's not a debt, you're not in debt, and you are a victim, and I can be your advocate for you.
Wow. So when we think about the banks, the government has rescued the banks so many times, but they're not rescuing us. What's going on with that?
Well, obviously the banks have have employees, and they're at the Federal Reserve, and they're in the Congress. So this all ties into who's the most wealthiest people are the Rothschilds. So they're in control of the Federal Reserve, and so all the banks rely on that. So you start from the top.
Yeah. Wow. Powerful. Dr. Cynthia, what is your take on everything that we've been talking so far? And I love the energy you're going to be bringing, right?
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you, first of all, for having me. Tommy, I'm so curious. I wanna learn so much more about what you do and who you serve. My area of expertise is really around how you build individual wealth through using your talent and your potential, and then how organizations avoid the debt that is really around opportunity costs of leaving so much on the table because they are, I think as a corporate America, corporate UK, I mean, really worldwide, we spend so much time focusing on our profits and profitability, and we fail to realize that the human capital that we attract and employ is really not just a banner on the wall, but truly our greatest asset, and actually the one that can walk out the door at the end of the day and not return. So It'll be interesting to see how we merge these incredible topics.
Absolutely. When we think about the way we look at our potential, a lot of people look at potential only based on finances when we have so much more to give. Let's talk about that. What is it that we as a human being can give when we're looking at our own potential and maybe we're looking at someone else's potential? How do we tap into that?
Yeah. I think that when we think about potential, it's really the DNA, the hardwiring. It's the non-teachable parts. So I like to think about there's knowledge which we can learn, we can study, we can memorize. There's skill that we can practice and demonstrate, right? We can memorize the cookie recipe and then we can demonstrate through skill how to make the cookies. The talent and the potential lies in what's beneath that iceberg. It's really in that I have a passion for doing this. It makes my heart sing to bake. I have a unique ability to do it with excellence and creativity and spontaneously. Which, by the way, I used a baking example. None of those apply to me. I find baking far too scientific. I'm more of a kitchen sink cook. So, but I think that that's what we miss in other people. We still are so led in a society that looks at how many years of experience you have, how long you've stayed in a position. There are these very traditional filters that, by the way, have no predictive validity on determining future performance. Instead of saying, what is Dr. Andrea or what is, Tommy's natural hardwiring, what makes their heart sing, what are they naturally good at, what do they do with excellence, spontaneously and consistently, and then let's teach the skill and knowledge piece. So I think we as individuals leave a lot on the table by not really looking into and leaning into our gifts and talents. And I think organizations are so in debt due to the fact that we churn through people because we're not seeking the right things in the beginning.
I'd love to have Dr. Andrea respond to that because she is obviously, Dr. Andrea, I want him to tell the audience in case they're tuning in for the first time what you do, how powerful what Dr. Cynthia just spoke about means.
Yeah, when to me, this whole idea of who we are, how we show up, and how we consider what is valuable within us. Sometimes we don't even see that. Sometimes the value of who we are and our talent and our potential is seen by other people. And we often take for granted the gifts that we have as being commonplace, or like everybody knows it, everybody is aware of it. And what I'm hearing through Dr. Cynthia is that if they are able to tap into their talent and their potential and utilize it in such a way that they can share it with other people, either in consulting, as courses, books, teaching at a college, some other way of sharing that with a community maybe, then they can take their potential and their assets and their talent and do something good with it, whether it's in a philanthropic way to give it, or to use it for income, or in other ways to build great assets with it. And what I also hear is the tie into Tommy, because if we know how to manage our money, if we're aware of what rules that we've been taught are always the way it should be, and what is actually also available to us when we don't know, then we can have more of the money and keep it for ourselves and use it in a way that's more apropos to create a legacy for us rather than a legacy for others. And then we can choose to give it to others rather than just giving it and letting maybe the government decide who it goes to or doesn't go to. So that's how I'm hearing how we tie everything in together. So what you were looking for, Sifu?
One of the things I just had a discussion with somebody is that they're tired of billionaires who are constantly looking at how much more billions can I make instead of I've made my fortune, how much more can I serve the world? And I think that Tommy, you can probably jump in on this as well, because it was a really interesting discussion that we had. And this person was just fed up, and I was like, "Well, they know how to make the billions, so they're making more." And they agreed that that's a good thing, but if they're not being where they're taking their wealth and helping the world to position the world in a better way, then there's a misconnection, because if they're in their limos or their helicopters or wherever they're going, and they're going through cities that need what they have, yet they're holding on to it because they're not helping, then that there's no connection to the world in reality.
Yes. Well, kind of reacting to what the two doctors have said, my thought was that, is it possible that we've been lied to, indoctrinated, and brainwashed? And that includes me too. So if that's a possibility, then a lie is a lie, and we know what a lie is. But what happens if it's told generationally over and over again? Then it becomes indoctrination. And then if we don't question it, then we're brainwashed. So I'm not here to insult you all or your audience, but they start to question. So that's what we need to do, is start to question things, and then we're not brainwashed. And then back to what you were saying about the wealthy and what they can do with it. It reminded me of something. My son was at a preschool, and my friend was a teacher, and she had the kids all in a circle, and she passed a penny, and all the kids were passing one penny around. Then she added more and more and more, and pretty soon there were handfuls. The kids were giggling, laughing. They couldn't scoop up enough pennies to pass to the neighbor. They were pouring all over the place. So she said, "Okay, everybody, hold one penny. How many do you have?" And they all said one. So she said, the story is, pass the penny, you get many. Hold the penny, you don't get any. So that would be my response to the wealthy, holding on to it instead of passing the penny.
Wow, I love that. I think I'm gonna have to try that game with some entrepreneur rooms.
Yeah,
There you go.
children to know that. One thing I do want to, I'm going to give a little pushback, Tommy, not in that we need information, but just the use of brainwash. Because, I don't know necessarily, or I don't fall into necessarily that it's brainwashing, but it's just that that's what's been told, that's what's been taught. And so then our parents don't know that there's other options. Our grandparents didn't know. So we're just doing what we already know. So like me, I don't feel like I've been brainwashed, although I just been following what I already knew. And because I'm educated, I started looking for new things and seeing new things. And now I see, oh, there's other things where you can generate wealth and pay no taxes and then still and legally do that. I've heard of new entities, met new people. I've learned about infinite banking. I've learned it different. I've heard myths against infinite banking. And so the more we know, the more we can make better decisions. And that's not to say some people aren't brainwashed. Some people very well may be doing that. And some people have the act of doing that because they want people to fall into and follow them. So I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying sometimes we just do what we already know because that's all we ever knew and nobody was looking for anything different. So I just wanted to soften that up because controversy is great, and getting people worked up too much sometimes isn't great.
Well, you're familiar with the Stockholm syndrome, where the abuser takes on the identity of the abused takes on the identity of the abuser. So that's where a lot of people will come back and defend the bank and say everything that is totally a lie and indoctrination, but that's okay.
It's yes, there's definitely situations of Stockholm syndrome. There are definitely people who've been damaged and hurt. So I'm not denying that that's not a thing. I'm just saying that in other situations, they just don't know what they don't know. And by teaching them, that gives them opportunity to make good decisions. Dr. Cynthia, what's your thought on what Tommy and I are talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it likens to, the notion that we live a lot of our life on autopilot. I think that, what the person listening, what each of us tend to do a lot is those frames of reference, those lived experiences, that formative thinking. And then we just sort of go through life, and it conserves a lot of energy when we live life on autopilot, rather than taking those really intentional moments to pause and reflect and ask really great questions. I interviewed somebody recently, Dr. Deborah Clary, and she has a new book coming out, The Curiosity Curve. And I think that, one of the things we as individuals can do a far better job is just asking better questions and being more curious. And, Tommy, I would think that that's a place where your work starts, in terms of people just not assuming or trusting everything as presented, but being curious and asking provocative or insightful questions. That's what I encourage. I work with women and men as an executive coach, and oftentimes I find that they even have their careers on autopilot, instead of taking that intentionality to say, is the path I'm on the right one? Am I seeking the allure of the title and the position and the status and the money, or am I really seeking purpose and that thing that makes my heart sing, and that gives me joy, and that I know that I can do really well? And sometimes those are two different paths.
Yeah. Wow. What a very interesting conversation we're having. And when we even think of controversy, I think controversy sometimes stems from what we don't understand. And so we try to interject what we do understand. But a lot of times we need to be open-minded to listening to somebody who maybe we don't understand what they're talking about, but give them the space to say, okay, you know what? Show me, teach me. Right. And that's why I love opening. And that's why I'm so happy I'm part of this panel today. So you guys can share with me different ideas and concepts that are going to make it so everybody who is listening goes, wow, this opinion, that opinion, this opinion. And then they can realize that maybe somebody out there is thinking the way you are. Somebody else is thinking the way you are. But it's not always a one-way street, right? Because there is always a two-way street. And thank you, everybody, for being here and enlightening me today.
So along that, Tommy, can you, what is let's just start with one thing. What is one thing that people commonplace don't know and should know about their money, and the idea that there's some hidden costs and debt that we need to know about, that we can start with that one thing to start going into it?
Oh, sure. My argument is not a get out of debt scheme. What I've tried to explain to people is there is a true credit card. And when you go to a merchant or a store and you apply for their in-store credit card, that can be with an invoice that proves that they have a debt. However, if you look at your Amazon, your Walmart card, or any other like department store, and if on the back of the card it says issued by Bank of America, Citibank, Wells Fargo, Bank of London, Bank of Tokyo, it's worldwide, then it's not a true credit card because they're not a merchant. So they do not have an invoice. That's what I discovered when I ended up with $85,000 of credit card debt that I thought at the time. But then when I realized they didn't have an invoice, they don't have a debt.
Now that is something to know more about.
You and I, Tommy, we had a conversation on how the credit card companies are really taking more than they should. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, sure. As long as we can first establish that the bank did not put tires on your car, they didn't go out to your house and do a plumbing job, they didn't sell you products and goods and services, then they are not a true merchant. So they can never have issued a credit card. Then the argument is they made a loan. Well, the federal banking regulations require them to have a promissory note. And when I realized that banks did not have a promissory note, I sued them in federal court. And that's where I was able to be successful. Not in the sense of a judgment, but the judge threw my cases out. But what happened after that is that the banks, after 30 days, had removed it off my credit report. So I had explained in my pleading that the banks were committing a crime, and that's what they were doing. They're committing fraud. So there was no loan. So you don't have a debt with it. Bank issued alleged credit card debt.
Wow. So right now, I get stuff in the mail all the time. This credit card, that credit card, And of course I rip them up. But once in a while, I just take a look and I'm like, what are they charging? And it's shark loans. It's like 29%, 20. I remember when I was younger, 25%, that was a shark loan. That's like if you went to Brooklyn somewhere and you got somewhere in New York City in a back alley and you got a loan from this guy, his nose was crooked and he thought, how you doing? Let me give you a loan. And that was considered shark loaning. And now you can get it in the mail. And it's horrific when the banks are making billions on these debts that they should not be.
So I must be on a pushback day, because I'm thinking, well, if you still bought the stuff and you didn't have the money for it, that's still on you. You bought it. So if you shouldn't have bought it in the first place, if you knew you weren't going to be able to pay your bills. And I'm not saying you personally, Tommy, I'm talking about me. I'm talking about Sifu, Dr. Cynthia, anybody. And so when you can't do things or handle things, and you let those go and then assume no responsibility and yet still keep the things, to me, there is a mismatch. So the fact that we choose to use, and that's not utilize, use somebody else's card or else is someone's name or their business to get things, and then don't make good in paying them, and then you get in a spiral, because now you've picked a card with 29% interest and all these late fees, and that you're never going to catch up. It doesn't matter if you pay them on time every day for 30 years, you're never going to catch up, because they'll make more debt. So that I do find a problem, where then all of a sudden the percentage is way beyond what the purchase was. So can you address that for me, Tommy?
Oh, sure. And I fully expect you to disbelieve everything I have to say. Don't mind it at all. I'm going to
stop you there. I didn't say anybody disbelieved you. I said that I would like you to share the responsibility of people paying for things and not taking responsibility for paying them, and then the extremity of not paying them, and then now they have unabsorbent fees. So I am on your side. I'm just giving you a voice in such a way that it allows people to hear it without any without overexcitement or emotion.
Okay. I encourage people to disagree with me, because I am revealing something that is totally unbelievable and has never been heard of before. So I am an accountant, and I know accounting, and I know what happened with the bank. So this is what is happening, is that the bank wants you to be a customer. Okay. And what they do is they send you out a gift card. Law is language, and language is law. So if you use the language of the criminal, you're never going to win the argument. You're exactly right. You got the card. It's a credit card. You made charges. You didn't pay for it. And if you don't pay for it, you go to court and they sue you and you get a judgment. That's fine. That's the whole lie. And that's what I'm trying to overcome. The truth is, the banks advertise to get customers. And what they did is they sent you a card without even being approval, in a sense. You already didn't apply. That's what I mean. So you get a pre-approved card, or you do get a card and you apply for it. But an application is truly just a request. You do not fill out loan documents, and you don't have any evidence of any proof of income. You have no collateral, and you don't sign a promissory note. And that's the federal banking regulations. So the banks have to get a promissory note in order to issue a loan. So there was no loan. What they did is they sent you a gift card. You use the card, and then when you sent money to the bank, you think you're paying for the bill, but it's not. It was fraudulent to get you to open up an account. And what you did is you mailed money to the bank, and that's technically actually a loan. You take money into a bank, it's a loan to the bank, and every subsequent purchase has been with your own money. So it's not a loan, it's not a credit card. And I can prove that in court, and I've been very successful over the many years. And that's why the banks will not disagree with me, because I have them on a crime they've committed. So I have my people who get involved with me, first of all, get their credit report. They also file out, they go to the regulators and they file complaints. So we actually have the evidence of a crime.
May I ask a question? I'm so fascinated by this.
You know what, Dr. Cynthia?
Absolutely. We were going to just ask you.
So I have a question for Tommy as well. I'm so fascinated. So in the spirit of your answer, I'm tracking with you, but back to, I guess, Dr. Andrea's initial question, just playing this out. So if I get this gift card, this said solicitation in the mail to a department store, right? And I go and I get $500 worth of clothing and I bring it home. And so I have said clothing. Um, where then is my obligation, expectation, responsibility to pay for this material value of this thing, stuff that I brought home?
Remember years ago, your mother went into the bank and the bank had purchased toasters and wall clocks. And they said, if you open up an account today, we're going to give you a toaster. And your mom came home with a free toaster. Your dad said, how'd you get the toaster? It was free. You opened up an account? Okay. It's the same thing. I had responded to a newspaper article that said, if you come into our bank and deposit $25, in 90 days, we'll match it. So what did I do? I took my $25 deposit and waited 91 days, went into the bank, took out $50 and closed the account. Now, did I steal from the bank? Was that immoral? I don't think so. The bank said, do this. I did it. And there's a guy on YouTube that says, do that. And it's $361 he's made so far. I'm saying exact same thing with your $500 bank issued alleged credit card, which is actually a gift card to get you to be a customer. What's the deal about that? Type it up yourself. I did that. And I asked, what does the average person pay on average of a credit card fee? And it's $23.04. So if Bank of America has 1 million card members, they're bringing $23 million a month, and it's about 1/4 of their profits, as I calculated, on charging people for a free checking account. That's what happened, is they tricked you into thinking that a statement is a bill. When you get a normal checking account and you get your normal statement at the end of the month, it's not a bill. It shows you that what happened in your account, and that's it. It's not a bill. But you're a good person. You're a moral person. You think you're doing the right thing. You're a victim. You mailed money to Bank of America. They put that into that free checking account, and you used your money for all the following purchases.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Food for thought for sure. So everybody, what are you going to do with your credit cards today?
Well,
I
in the
worked-
past, I always used credit cards so that I always paid them off. So I actually would make. I found that would match me money for money. So I would pay them off every month. So I actually would make money off of my credit cards or use my points to pay off my bill. So I utilize them and use them. I guess I did both. That's what I'm thinking. And then I'm noticing, Dr. Cynthia, you have capital investment strategy behind you. So now I want to know what you're thinking with what that says.
Yeah, well, and to be honest and transparent, I'm a platinum traveler on American Airlines because I have a credit card that gives me mileage. So I use it every month. I pay it off every month, and I have my free travel. So I'm not sure if I'm getting messed around with and all of that. Tommy, you'll have to be the judge. My work is all around human capital, and so it's in all of the world of AI and machine learning and debts and credit cards and what have you. My work and my focus is around the human capital side, which is our individual skills, talents, abilities, and gifts, and having more agency around where we show up with those, having more agency around being really clear about what your purpose, mission, values are, where you're going to bring that to bear from a employment perspective, and my goal is to help every single human being do what they love and make a living doing it. And I think that we would all be really happy and have a lot of joy and a lot of sense of purpose and probably get along a lot better if everybody got up in the morning and got to go make a living doing what they love and what they were best at. and they would delight a lot of people. And so I've had the great privilege of having that for most of my life, and my goal is to help others. So I help people a little differently than Tommy, but we're both on a mission to wake people up and have them lean into their agency for sure.
If I can share something that I do, and take a look at this, and then we can talk about it. You followed the rules, tried the restrictions, counted the carbs, the steps, and the failures. You're not lazy, you're exhausted from doing it all without real change. What if the problem isn't you, but the plan? Sifu's Mind-Body Method is a 90-day transformation built on 7 unshakable pillars: mindset, movement, nutrition, hydration, fasting, journaling, and faith. This isn't another shortcut. It's your structure, your strength, your reset. You don't need harder, you need better. Ready to begin? Start today. So I align with what you're talking about, Dr. Cynthia, because the reason I started Sifu's Mind-Body Method is because I see so many people who are living a professional life, but they're not taking care of the most important thing, their own vessel, if you will. So it's the mind and the body. It's not just the mind. And so many people are not understanding that legacy is also part of how you live your life.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. I love that. And I love the comprehensive nature of that too, because one of the things I work with a lot of, ambitious, overextended professional women and men. And what we talk about and really help them pursue their potentiality from a career perspective, one of the reminders that I'm constantly having to bring up is not at the risk or the sacrifice of your financial health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, your physical health, et cetera. Those things have to be a priority. So, Sifu, I love your focus.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and bring the topic up of talent, because so many people, and I see it everywhere, are super talented, yet they don't show it. They are hiding behind something. They're afraid of bringing their talent forward. Can we talk about that for a little while, Dr. Andrea?
Yeah, I was thinking that with you, Tommy, because I see you have a talent and a skill to help a lot of people who are struggling with debt and who have been now sucked into that cycle of not being able to pay and things not happening. And can we have the background muted here? I'm going to mute. Can we mute other people? I'm hearing something else playing. So what I'm saying for you, Tommy, is that I see that you've got this great gift and talent, and there are things that people need to be able to utilize that. So I love that you're doing that and that you'll take a stand and that you're very passionate about that, because that's quite amazing. And there's, I forget, I think it's over 70% of Americans are in severe debt. So that's our whole world, including our government. And Dr. Cynthia, I love the idea that you're helping other people with their talents as well and what they do. One of my coaches, he had a course the other night talking about what are your talents and what are you able to teach and do in your world. And he was teaching people how to look through their life and think, what is it that you have a value that you can help with others? And it reminded me of in 2007, I made a list of courses I could teach, things I could do, things I could train, that I don't need anything that I could teach a 2 to 3 hour class on that would add benefit to other people's lives in all kinds of areas. Everything from how to play a softball, how to be a catcher on a championship league, to talking about relationships, to talking about working in law enforcement. I mean, multiple things. I had 180 things listed. And that was in 2007. 2007. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, when you think about all the things that I have done since then, and like I got another PhD and all this stuff, there's so much talent and wealth and knowledge that each one of us have. You don't have to have a fancy degree. You just have to know things because you have experience and you've lived it, you've understood it, and you know more than somebody else who doesn't know that thing. And there
Yeah.
is so much untapped talent. And I love that people are utilizing AI, especially if they're utilizing AI to help them pull out their talent from themselves and to put it in such a way that they now have like some kind of an outline or a curriculum to share it with others. And what's ironically funny is a lot of people think that they have to get it from AI, but it's already in them. They just can utilize it to pull what they already have. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah. I would layer onto that if I may, so I would clarify, maybe caveat, right? Nuance, a couple of things that you said, Dr. Andrea. When I hear you talking about the 180 things that you could teach, by the way, love that. And I was a catcher in my very youthful days. I think I was 10, so it's been a minute. But when I when I think about that, here's the caveat or clarity I would add to that. The things that you know about, like the rules of softball, for example, or the elements of the game, just using that as an example, or even your comments about law enforcement. That's the knowledge piece, right? I can tell you, well, here's what you do, and I can give you the instructions. That's the knowledge piece. I can teach that. I can practice the skill of, getting in the position and being behind the plate and catching the ball. And that's the skill. That's demonstrating the things that you just educated me on through knowledge. Now that's the skill. Where I want to create the distinction around talent is it's the fact that you love to teach. That's the talent. And being good at teaching, right? The act of facilitating, the idea that when you're teaching, it brings you joy, that you teach in such a way that I'm interested in learning. That's where talent is different from the knowledge and skill. And so that's where I encourage people to go deeper. So my really quick framework, you mentioned that your mentor, your coach had offered one. So I think about it as aces and spaces, right? None of us walk on water. We have strengths that are hardwired DNA that we can develop, like if they're like a muscle. If we don't develop them, they atrophy. So talents can be developed to exponential success, where if they're spaces, they're just not how we're wired. It's just not how, part of our DNA. We can have marginal improvement, right? If you're not an organized person, you don't have high attention to detail, you can get a little better at that, but you're never going to be like amazing. So we focus on our strengths. Here's aces. It's affirming. When I do this thing, it feels good. There's a lot of things we can do that don't bring us joy. This thing, if it's a talent, it's affirming. It's consistent. I do it all the time. I don't sometimes do it and I sometimes don't. I always show up this way. I'm always organized, or I'm always strategic, or I'm always creative. So consistent, it's spontaneous. I can't help myself. I think I went out of order here on my ACEs spelling, and I do it with excellence. People come to me and say, hey, can you help me with, because they know I'm very influential or persuasive or creative or strategic or organized, right? So if you can tick those boxes, it makes me feel good doing it. I consistently do it. I do it with excellence, and it's spontaneous. I can't help myself. That's talent. So my thinking is this: figure out, Tommy, you have a gift at thinking about things very deeply. You have a gift of debate. And I say that with affection and as a compliment, right? Have a gift of taking complex things and putting them into easy to understand bites. The knowledge you've developed has been through trial and error and doing the work, right? So understanding those talents and building the skill and knowledge around them is a far better way to not leave money on the table for yourself and for those individuals that are hiring people the best way to ensure that you're not having opportunity costs by getting wrong people in wrong role.
Thank you for that, Dr. Cynthia. I appreciate that. That's one of the reasons that we do this, because like for me, I consider it an excellence always when anybody can take anything I've said and find a way to expand upon it, make it better, make it reach other people, make it more, knowledgeable, monetizable, any of those things. So absolutely love that, because my gift actually is teaching. And then my other part is connecting people. So relationships are the most important. I talk about relationship capital as the most important asset. And so my claim to fame, I guess, so to speak, Sifu, is I'm known as the woman with a $15 billion Rolodex. And I should increase that again, Sifu. As my world changes and adapts, and I know people, it's although I laugh at that, because it's one thing to think about what people's financial worth is, but to me that Rolodex is worth way more than 15 billion as far as money or what those people have as assets or in the bank or whatever. But it's more about who they are and the connections that they have, the support they can give, and the care that they have for other people. And to me, those are the greatest assets. So Tommy, if we could find out a way to monetize all of those relationships in a way where they don't take and give, because there are also relationships who end up sending just like these credit card schemes. So that might be a fun comparison, is talk about when are you involved with people who are acting very much like the systems of the banking institution that you've been talking about. And we are coming short on time here, I'm giving Sifu honorary doctorate. I call him Dr. Sifu all the time. Sifu, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm going to actually let Tom answer that for you. Tommy answer that for you. And then what I'm going to do is have everybody just tell us. I'm going to put their website across the bottom or wherever they can be reached. And then we're going to end the show. So Tommy, go for it.
Oh, sure. It's all about relationships. And that's where the word relationship is having patience with people who annoy you. So that's the whole thing we want to do, is be a bridge builder. And that's what I do. I help people. We write a letter to the bank. We ask them to close the account. And then I go around and teach them how to open a new credit card, not with an annual fee, and to know the scam that's going on, because you use it for your credit score, and to buy an airline ticket, and to rent a car, you got to have a credit card. But just they know that what's happening and the risk they're taking. And that's what I do. So I don't get them out of debt. I have them stop being a victim, and I turn them right around if they want to, and then get a card and use it properly, if you want to say it that way.
Love it.
Just quick question. Can you name the card?
Name the card.
That no interest and that doesn't do all the
capital. Well, I was off grid for 15 years, and so I had no credit score and no credit report. So I applied for a $500 credit card from Capital One, and they gave me one with no score and no credit history because I was a previous customer. But that was one of the banks I sued in federal court for $35,000 of alleged credit card debt. So they want you as a customer because they make $23 every month on a free checking account, but don't pay them. Yeah, don't do the annual fee, and only buy things that you're going to pay for. Right back that, but that's what you need. So
perfect.
Love it. Thank you, Tommy. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Dr. Cynthia, you have about 35 seconds, 40 seconds. Tell us what people can expect when they go to your website.
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, my parting comments to the person listening is start working on your future today. Do your day job with excellence, but start working on your future today. No one else is going to be doing that for you. Do not put your agency in your boss's lap, in a company's lap. You are the best advocate and the best investment you'll ever make. Would love to have you visit my website. I have 2 books available. I am an executive coach and a keynote speaker, and love working with executives to help them reach and unleash their full potential.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. Wow. Powerful stuff. Tommy, you're up, my friend.
Oh,
Tell it. What can somebody expect when they connect with you?
Oh, it's a free consultation, and if they do that, I send them my $69 book for free. It's on Amazon. It's called Forgive and Forget: How to Nuke Your Credit Card Debt. And that's the easiest way to find me. And they get the free book.
Love
Lovely.
it.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Dr. Andrea.
Tommy, you have such a warm disposition, and when you're passionate, you're fierce. So I love both sides of you. And Dr.
Thank you very
Cynthia, you're so bright and such a beautiful personality, and you can tell that the people that you work with get great value. So both of you, thanks so much for being guests today. And of course, I always admire Sifu. That's why we're friends. It's because we just admire each other so much. We spend our days complimenting each other so much, and it's like a fight. On how much
Love it.
we are. And for me, I'm Dr. Andrea Adams-Miller. I own what do I own? The Red Carpet Connection. And what I do is I work with elite entrepreneurs, movers and shakers, celebrities, influencers. And I don't work with a lot of people. I work with a few people a lot. And I help them build wealth and legacy and go on beyond things that they only dared to dream that they could accomplish, with the sole purpose of having greater impact on the world with what they're trying to do. And it's quite exciting. And then I am doing something next week, but I don't have the link handy to share it with you guys. So you just can DM me if you're interested. I'm helping a lovely person, a business called AccuHire. And my friend Joe Stymack teaches companies and government businesses and just amazing people with over $1 million income, startups and so forth, to hire the right kind of people. He's helped the government hire the top military specialists and all of that. And we're doing a free class on that next week. So if people would like to know how to hire people, if you've got a moving and grooving company, reach out and I'll tell you all about it. So thanks. That's me, Dr. Andrea.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Andrea.
Mhm.
And I'm Sifu Rafael. What can I say? I help people reset their lives from the inside out through Sifu's mind body method. We build discipline, health, and alignment using 7 powerful pillars. With speaking prowess, I teach leaders how to communicate with clarity so their message lands and transforms. And with the New York City experience, I create unforgettable spaces where high-level connections spark new levels of success. Reset, speak, connect, and that's the movement I love having and creating every single day. So thank you, everybody. What an incredible show. Do me a favor, share the show with everyone. You know why? Somebody needs to hear these messages today. Great stuff. Thank you, everybody. If you want to hang out, talk to Dr. Andrea. I got a boogie. I got another show. But do me a favor, share. Sharing is caring. God bless
Bye,
everybody.
everybody. Thank you.